You ever have a day split your life into a before and an after? Mine started with a voicemail I didn't hear, little missed call icon blinking like a heartbeat while I sat in a windowless room 3 floors underground in Riverton, Ohio, listening to men in suits argue over commas and a consent decree. I was the quiet one in the corner, hair pulled back, flats no fuss. The kind of woman folks mistake for an assistant until I opened my notebook and they realize I wrote the thing they're quoting. When I finally stepped into the hallway and pressed play, all I heard was my mother's breath, ragged a whisper carved out of fear. Avery, you need to come home. They put hands on her. The world narrowed to a pinhole. Who, Lena, she said, and the hallway fell away. A police officer slapped our baby in front of Harper's Market. She was counting her change buying candy for her class fundraiser, and he hit her. I don't remember hanging up. I remember moving. I remember steel in my legs and heat in my chest, the kind I've warned other people about, the kind that turns good decisions into ash. But I also remember the sound a child makes when they're trying so hard not to cry, they forget how to breathe. I'd know my daughter's breath anywhere. By the time I turned onto Maple Terrace, the sky was that bruised color it gets before it storms. Neighbors were on porches holding phones to their chests like rosaries. 3 black SUVs rolled in behind me. Don't get hung up on those. Paperwork follows me home sometimes, and every face on our block lifted at once. But I wasn't looking at any of that. I was looking at the front window where a small shape stood behind the curtain, 2 hands pressed flat to the glass. My girl and the way she ran before she realized she was running. "Mommy, I'm here," I said, and I meant it with every cell of my body. Her cheek was swollen, the kind of red that turns purple overnight. Glitter from a unicorn keychain stuck to her temple. He said I was lying. She told me, voice wobbling, but I wasn't. I had my receipt and everything. I asked about peanuts because Jada can't have peanuts. "I did good, right?" "You did perfect," I said. She made this small, broken sound, half gulp, half laugh, like she wanted to be brave for me. He said I couldn't call Nana, and then her little hands sliced the air. Everyone saw. I looked at my mother. She looked back. We didn't have to say it, not today, not ever again. Now let me take you back 40 minutes before I got that call, because that's when Officer Darren Cole rolled up to Harper's Market with his rookie partner, Naomi Park. Park had 6 months on the job and hope still shining through the cracks. Cole had 8 years and a record thick with "could you not" in neighborhoods that look like mine. Kids sitting on the curb, Cole said, stepping out, thumbs hooked in his vest. Bag full of candy, too long in the store. You know the drill. He didn't see a 9-year-old with a fundraiser flyer and a head full of questions about food allergies. He saw trouble he could solve with volume. "What are you doing here?" he barked. "Where'd you get that money?" Lena being Lena, God bless that child, held up her receipt like it was a passport. "For my bake sale," she said. "We're raising money for the library because the dragon books are old." She tried to smile. "Do you like dragons?" Cole didn't even glance at the paper. "Empty your pockets." She did, because 4'3" of good manners will still obey a badge. Unicorn key, 2/4 a crumpled tissue that had been through the wash. "See," she said, small but proud. "I did the math before I came." People started drifting closer. Mrs. Lawson from the daycare. Mr. Reed, who runs the auto shop. Phones rose like a tide. Officer Mrs. Lawson said steady, "I saw her inside with her grandmother. She paid." Cole's jaw tightened. He felt the crowd before he heard them. A man like that needs the room to shrink around him, needs everyone scarce and sorry. Instead, the air got big and bright and full of witnesses. "Step back," he snapped. "This is police business. Let her call her grandma." Mr. Reed said, palms open. "She's right around the corner." And that's when Darren Cole did the thing that turned stomachs into fists. He leaned in too close, all heat and breath and power. And when my daughter said, "please," he slapped a 9-year-old girl so hard she fell off the curb and scattered her fundraiser on the asphalt like a second-grade constellation. The sound of a community changes after something like that. We go from sir to hey to no fast. Naomi Park's hand flew to her radio, then dropped. She stepped forward, then stopped. You could see her war between training and conscience, eyes bright with the realization that her partner just lit his own life on fire. "Sir," she said, voice thin, "she's a child." You felt that, Cole said to Lena, louder now, performative. "That's what happens when you lie." A chorus of, "Oh no, you didn't," rolled across the lot. Somebody said, "We got it all." Somebody else said, "Look at me, baby. You're okay." My mother rounded the corner and the world tilted. By evening, the clip had a name because the internet always names things Harper's Lot, and it was everywhere. I watched it in our living room with the sound off because I couldn't hear the slap without breaking something. Captain Evelyn Ortiz, head of the precinct, watched it with the sound on in her office and went white as paper. "Suspend him," she told internal. "Now. Body cam too." And while they were doing that, while City Hall held a press conference and the union rep rehearsed his split-second decision speech, my phone stopped being a mother's phone and turned into a switchboard. Lawyers, reporters, pastors, a senator who wanted me to remember his name when I couldn't remember if I'd eaten. I said the same thing to each one, not on my porch, not tonight. That's Act 1, the part where a small girl is told she's nobody and the neighborhood answers, she is somebody to us. Act 2 is where effort begins, the work nobody films because work is boring unless it bites back. The next morning, investigators from the Civil Rights Division stepped into the precinct, no sirens, no swagger, just legal pads and patience. They didn't ask, "Why did you slap a child?" because the tape answered that. They asked for paper complaints, stops cuffed bodies without charges. Names bubbled up like oil in a ditch. A boy tossed against a fence for walking home with a backpack. A nurse pepper sprayed for tone. Things that got filed under resolve because bodies heal and videos get lost. And then there was Officer Park, eyes rimmed red throat, working telling a conference room full of strangers. The things she didn't tell her sergeant because she wanted a career. "I should have stopped him," she said. "I should have put my hand on his arm and said enough." She gave them dates. She gave them partners who were at lunch and dash cams that malfunctioned. She looked at me because by then we'd met and said barely audible, "I'm sorry." I believed her. Not the kind of belief that erases consequences, the kind that gives you a chance to earn better ones. As for me, people like to dress power up in marble and microphones. Truth is, sometimes it's smaller. It's a mother holding a coal pack to a cheek while a therapist rings the doorbell. It's taking leave you swore you'd never take because your daughter wakes up at 3 a.m. Certain sirens mean someone's coming to get her. It's telling yourself that the part of you that wants to break things doesn't get a vote, not today. When they finally sat Darren Cole at a metal table and pushed a file toward him, he tried on every story he'd ever heard work. She was resisting. No, I felt threatened by what a fundraiser flyer. I didn't know who she was. And there it was, the part where he made it about me. I walked in not because I'm the avenging anything, but because the woman he hit belongs to me, and I placed a single photo on the table. Lena's face the morning after, bruise in full bloom, chin lifted like hers always is. "You shouldn't need to know who somebody's mother is," I said. "You should know what a child is." He stared at the picture until he couldn't. I'm not going to pretend his tears moved me. I'm not that generous. But I did think this somewhere some other mother is going to sleep tonight because we were loud. The charges were the charges: state assault, federal civil rights, stacked neat. The sentence will land where it lands. That part is math. What came after, that's the part nobody agrees on and everybody should talk about. Policy sounds like furniture until you're the one sitting on it. We wrote a training that treats kids like kids first, not small adults with big attitudes. We tied money to it because departments don't change for lectures, they change for budgets. We built civilian review with subpoena teeth. We made a thing we call Lena's Promise, simple words that say, if you put your hands on a child, the weight of this city will find you. Naomi Park, she moved to community relations. She talks to rookies about the day she learned silence is a choice you answer for. She tells them about watching a room shrink around a man who needed it to, and how you stop that room from shrinking is you step in. And my daughter, well, kids are rubber bands. They snap back in ways grown-ups don't. First week back at school, she raised her hand and asked for more dragon books for the library because apparently we are not done with dragons. She told her class, if somebody says you're nobody, that just means they don't know you yet. Then she came home and told me I make grilled cheese wrong. Too much butter, Mom. We're working on my technique. Act 3, the part you came for, isn't a gavel or a headline. It's a stage at the community center, a bright Saturday with folding chairs and sliced cake, Lena stepping up in her sparkly sneakers, looking out at officers and aunties, and teenagers with crossed arms they swear aren't protection. I was scared, she says, clear as a bell. I'm still a little scared sometimes. But I don't want to be mad forever because that makes my stomach hurt. I just want big people to remember we're small. She grins at me, mischief back where it belongs. Also, if you work at a store, maybe answer questions about peanuts. That would help. The room laughs the way rooms do when relief sits down beside grief and they decide to share the plate. Captain Ortiz stands in the back, stone still, blinking a little too much. Officer Park claps until her palms go pink. Somewhere a camera whirs. Somewhere else a man shakes his head and says, "It wasn't that bad," and somebody next to him says, "Watch it again." Here's the part that'll get folks arguing in the comments, and that's all right. We need the argument. Should I have stayed out of the case? Should any mother carry her child into a room where her title has weight? I'll tell you what I told the mirror: justice isn't about who you are, it's about what you did. And what he did was hit a kid. Everything after that is an accounting. So talk to me. Tell me where the line is between anger and action, between reform and retaliation, between a badge that protects and one that threatens. Tell me what you've seen on your block at your corner store in the eyes of a rookie who still believes she can make it better. Tell me if you ever felt like a nobody until the right people saw you and said, "Not today." If you think kids deserve gentler hands and sharper policies, share this with one person who still needs convincing. Drop a comment. What's the first change you'd make in your town, and what did you live through that taught you where the line is? And if you're with me, if you're with Lena, hit subscribe, because we're not done telling the kind of stories that turn nobody into somebody you cannot ignore.